Welcome to Who's In, where we give you our ultimate starting 11 for the world's biggest football teams. We've already covered the World Cup nations, so make sure you check out that playlist, and now bringing you some more amazing starting 11s. However, with the PFA Team of the Year announced, we thought we'll give you some players that haven't been that great. So here's our worst starting 11 for the Premiership this season. Our formation for the worst Premiership Team of the Year is 4-4-2. With so many players not living up to their potential, we couldn't cram them all in. So let us know who you would have picked. With that said, don't get mad at me if your favourite player made the team. I'm Anton Allen, let's begin. In goal, Cech. Sorry to admit, but Cech is long past his best. Actually, Arsenal never should have bought Cech. His existence in the Arsenal squad has actually stunted the potential growth of Ospina, and more importantly, the signing of Cech meant that we got rid of Szczesny, who has actually flourished in Italy after gaining more maturity. Arsenal should have done what Chelsea did and sent Cech out on loan at a young age, let him mature in someone else's goal, then bring him back when he's ready to play for a top quality side like Arsenal. With Arsenal in 6th and struggling to find away wins, Cech is no longer the seemingly unstoppable goalkeeper Alan Shearer and the crew said would get Arsenal at least 9 points a season. He might even have cost us 9 points this season, so he's our pick for the goalie. At right back, we have Tottenham Hotspur's Aurier. Aurier has been said by Rio Ferdinand to have let his team down too often. The man signed from PSG was a big signing for Spurs and they had high hopes. He's managed to score 2 goals, but his job is to defend, and as a defender, he's looked pretty shaky. In the Ivory Coast International, they thought they'd found a diamond in the rough. Well, PSG isn't that rough, but still, they thought they'd found a diamond, but in fact, he's shown himself to be more of a fugazi. He's a constant culprit of giving away clumsy, needless penalties. Spurs are already looking for his replacement in Ricardo Pereira from Porto, so this might even be his last appearance in our squad, let alone the Spurs team. At centre-back, we have West Brom's Johnny Evans. Despite major interest to buy Evans from top clubs like Manchester City and Arsenal, his current team, West Brom, is still rock bottom of the Premiership, even after affecting the top of the table by beating Manchester United, which led to Manchester City winning the league. No doubt Evans is probably a good defender, or people wouldn't have tried to buy him in the first place, but there's also no doubt that he has to share some of the blame for West Brom's decline as a defender and as their captain, especially after he infamously stole a taxi whilst on a team holiday. That's not exactly leading by example, especially when he was joined by 2 of his teammates. For that stupid act alone, he joins our worst 11 of the season. Pairing up with Evans is Arsenal's Mustafi. Mustafi came to Arsenal with so much promise. He is our record signing for a defender, however, he embodies the word liability. He was the culprit for Aguero's first goal in the Carling Cup final, and he's repeated that performance during other major games. Arsenal were attempting to sell him last season, and many people thought that that would be a mistake, but now it looks like it was a mistake not to have sold him. Stats have shown that Liverpool striker Firmino has made more tackles than Arsenal defender Mustafi. That stat alone is a reason for him to be in our worst 11. At left back, we have Manchester United's Luke Shaw. One of the many players Mourinho struggled to get the best out of. After Mourinho publicly criticised Shaw's performance and some people said he was being too harsh, Ashley Cole said that Shaw could be one of the best left backs in the world. And even though United want to sell him, they still want at least 28 million. So Shaw can't be that bad, but he's another case of a player not reaching his potential. Yes, his 4 years at United has been hampered by injury, but remember, a football club is a business, not a hospital. It can't be carrying the sick and the broken simply out of the good of a heart that football now lacks. Even though recently some United fans have said Shaw was a better left back than Ashley Young and would prefer him to stay, maybe there's a future for Shaw if somehow by the end of the season he does some miraculous performances, but with Mourinho having a long shopping list, I think Shaw is definitely on his way out and he's made himself available for our team. What does Arsenal's Nigerian international have? 2 goals, 5 assists. Alex Iwobi's best performance was his acting in Like London advert. He's ridiculously wasteful in front of goal. Wenger might be better off playing him at centre midfield, as right now he's not built to be a goal threat. There's defenders with more goals than Alex Iwobi. If Arsenal are playing badly Anawobi's playing, all you need to do is go to Twitter to see all of the banter. That's why he's in our team. At centre midfield, we have Paul Pogba from Manchester United. It's not that Pogba was especially poor to most players' standards this season. It's he's not lived up to the hype and the high standard people expect from him. He was the world's most expensive player at some point, so we kind of have to expect more. Maybe it isn't Pogba's fault. People have noted that he was injured and Mourinho plays him out of position and he lacks the ability to get the best out of players sometimes. But United legend Roy Keane said the system is irrelevant. A top quality player should be able to impose himself on the game regardless of how far back or forward he finds himself. However, the biggest indicator of a player's bad season is when there are rumours of them being sold and replaced by another player. In Pogba's case, there was talk of Shakhtar Donetsk's Fred being his replacement, so that's why he's in our team. Joining Pogba is Renato Sanchez. Sanchez was supposed to be the future of Portugal and Bayern Munich, but his stay in the Premiership made him look like more of a Championship level player rather than a Champions League level player. Following the arrival of Rodriguez and Tolisso at Bayern Munich, Sanchez was loaned to Swansea for a year. They hoped he would gain some playing time and return a more mature and better player. However, he's only made 9 starts for Swansea and he's not looked anywhere near like the player that impressed during the European Championship. Despite being injured in January, he's returned with the hope of making it into the World Cup squad. That looks highly unlikely. He's probably only going to make it into our worst team of the year. On the left, we've got Manchester United's Alexis Sanchez. Manchester United fans will be annoyed to see Sanchez on the list, but Arsenal fans would be pretty happy. Since joining Manchester United, Sanchez has 2 goals to his name. That means that Chris Smalling, United's defender, is a more prolific scorer than Sanchez, who's on £350k a week salary. Sanchez's arrival has kept Marcus Rashford on the bench and made it harder for Paul Pogba to play his natural style of play. So overall, Sanchez has not had the impact at United that their over-the-top announcement video made it seem like he would. Up front for our worst team of the year is Christian Benteke from Crystal Palace. Benteke was feared and the truth when he was playing for Aston Villa. He scored 42 goals in 3 season spell at the club. However, his career has been declining ever since he left the Midlands. Yet last season at Palace he managed 15 goals, but this season he has 2 goals from 20 starts, which has meant Wilfried Zaha has had to be the saving grace for a Palace side in desperate need for more goals this season. Yes, he's had injuries to contend with, but 2 goals a season is nowhere near the level expected from a player that defenders used to fear and was once wanted by major clubs. And our final player and centre forward is Chelsea's Murata. Chelsea's big signing from the summer. He was supposed to be the man to fill the Diego Costa side hole at Chelsea. However, the Spaniard hasn't adjusted to the Premiership. He scored only 14 goals but cost the club 60 million. He's only scored 14 goals but cost the club 60 million. Chelsea have found the net just 57 times in 33 games this season, the fewest of any of the sides in the top 7. Compare that to 85 scored in the 38 games that took them to the Premier League title last term, and the lack of cutting edge becomes even more clear into focus. Morata's lack of impact has been the reason why Chelsea went from champions to 5th place. It's also why it looks like he may be on the plane back to Serie A in the summer. So that's our starting 11, but we want to know yours. Comment who you'd pick for your team and which player do you think's been the worst this season. Don't forget to check out our other videos throughout our Onefootball catalogue. I've been Alan. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.